DATAPOP is a chip music festival in Austin, Texas at the Highball. Tim League, who runs the space and runs the Alamo Drafthouse, he saw some of it and instantly fell in love with it and decided he wanted to run a festival here.
I think there's a lot of movie fans and people in my generation that grew up with the Game Boy that once they figure out what this is all about, then they'll become at least curious enough to come to the show. Tonight, we've got a couple of performers that are notoriously crazy. Hallie from Japan. I'm very, very happy that he's come down to Austin for the show.
I always think my music is something a hybrid of cyberpunk and 70s disco.
IAYD, I Am Your Destruction. He's a 17-year-old kid from Corpus Christi, still in high school, but he's just destroying it.
Chip music is music made with old, outdated hardware, specifically video game hardware such as the Game Boy or the Commodore 64. We used software to gain control over the sound chips.
All right, now it's time for some data brutality. My name's Jeremiah Johnson. I use Nintendo Game Boys and other low-bit electronics to produce music under the name Null Sleep.
Bit Shifter and Null Sleep. They're both playing tonight. They've spearheaded the movement in the United States, and they're actually building an international community.
I think it's nice to see these larger scale festivals happening in different cities now, where it's sort of a way of solidifying the live performance aspect of chip music. I like the fact that this old hardware is easier to understand, and as a result figure out ways of pushing more out of the hardware. I also just like the aesthetic of this really sort of dirty, grimy digital noise.
Let's make an SAT analogy thing. Rock music is to punk music as electronic music is to 8-bit music, and that it's the stripped-down, purest form of those sounds.
There's a huge array of musicians here. So some guys are pure and playing only on one Game Boy, and it's just a direct 1/8" input into a soundboard. Other guys have all sorts of other toys and tools, and some are using the Game Boy as just one instrument in a band.
I have a band named 8-Bit Karaoke, or 8-Bit KOK for short, who does dancey covers of Broadway show tunes.
The chiptune scene's so diverse, there's a lot of different genres within it. There's house music, there's drum and bass, there's people that do like bluesy stuff. It's all totally different,
I make fun, happy ska kind of music.
When you're hearing the old sounds with the stylized visuals, it's a completely new experience. That's one of the most unique parts about coming to a chiptune event. It's simultaneously visual. It's multi-sensory. You're coming, you're seeing visualists who are using similar technology that the musicians are to create new visuals, but there's a synergy between the musicians and the visual artists, and they're playing off one another to create new compositions and new performance art.
I think it's a lot like how scratching used to be, where it was specifically for hip-hop music, but then as it became sort of this universal sound, it started spreading out. I think there's a lot of directions that it goes, and a lot of other genres of music that are going to be affected in the future.